Hey there lads and ladies, it is Petrifying Pumpkins here. I am back yet again, non-stop, 24/7 here, with another update about Firewall Zero Hour. This one once again comes from uploadviewer.com from the author David Jagneaux, and this one focuses completely on DLC, post-launch support, and explains why Firewall will launch the way it will launch in terms of only having the one game mode. So let's just jump right into it. So the title of the article is called Firewall Devs on DLC, and then a quote, "This is not a release and forget game for us." So that's encouraging to hear. So David asked Hess Barber about things like other modes, deathmatch, capture the flag, etc. And Hess's reply was this: "We've definitely talked about all that, but the obvious reason not to do that right now is the player base. Even if it's as big as it could be, it's still going to be smaller than a normal PS4 game. So we don't want to have multiple game modes spread out and chopping up the player base. Once we see what happens with the players, and if there is a good consistent player base and it keeps rising, plus DLC, and people keep coming to us, then we'll release those game modes so we don't chop up players as much." Now, we already knew that the reason they didn't want to add more modes in was because they didn't want to split the player base, but it's nice to see a more detailed kind of explanation of that, and I think I agree with that. I know a lot of you folks want another mode, and I can definitely see your reasoning, but I think I can also see Hess Barber's reasoning here, and I think that's valid, you know. Fingers crossed this game does well. I think it will, and then we'll get more modes after launch, and then everyone will be happy, you know. Hopefully. Now, David Jagneaux does point out that there are different ways around that kind of thing, where he points to Overwatch and stuff, how they have like a playlist so that you do different modes on a cycle, you know, or limited modes like a weekend event, or you know how Fortnite do have those time limited modes. Something like that could work. That's definitely something I hope Firewall developers First Contact look into, so fingers crossed. So Hess Barber continued with, "We've discussed all kinds of game modes, and we've tried team deathmatch internally, since a lot of people naturally play all shooters like a team deathmatch and then adapt to a more tactical style. So a mode like that is very, very different, and it does work and it is fun, but we just don't want to split people up. There's also the immersion factor when you don't respawn and bullets are hitting all around you, and you can feel the pressure and the need to pull back and duck and survive. One of the modes we've thought of is a hardcore mode where there is no wrist map tablet, one shot and you're dead, no names over player heads, friendly fire, and all that stuff we want to get down the track. Definitely something like that we're planning and discussing, because there will be that group that wants more intense stuff. I definitely like the sound of the hardcore mode, especially one shot kill and friendly fire, stuff like that. That can be a very, very intense game mode if they do add that. It sounds like they will down the road, fingers crossed. And I know a lot of you out there want friendly fire. It sounds like there will not be friendly fire in the standard mode. Maybe in private lobbies where you can customize settings a bit, there will be friendly fire, hopefully, but it may be that we have to wait for the hardcore mode if it comes for a friendly fire. So next, David asks Hess if there is a way to buy in-game currency, and Hess replies with, "No, you cannot buy the in-game currency. You know, they didn't want to have multiple currencies. They want you to be able to earn everything in-game." I like the sound of that. I know there is microtransactions. That is purely for cosmetic reasons, because if they had it so that you could buy crypto, then that would make it easier to unlock actual useful in-game items and stuff. So they're avoiding pay to win completely. That sounds great. We should be happy to hear that. So next, David asks him about solo or co-op, like a proper single player campaign. So Hess replies with this, and I'll quote it. I'm doing lots of quotes here, but it's important stuff. "We wanted to do both single player and multiplayer from the start, but when it really came down to it and we made the budget first, the time needed to do a really good single player would probably have been 2 or 3 years to really do it well. So we wanted to be able to have a way for people to play solo, but we didn't want to call it single player because people would expect a campaign, so we came up with training. You can level up and progress in there, but it's much less than in contracts." So that's fair enough. I know a lot of people, much like with friendly fire, They also want to have a proper story mode, campaign, stuff like that. What Hess is basically saying here is, yeah, we could have done a story mode, but then the game wouldn't have been out until 2020 or 2021, you know? I, for one, I'm happy with that trade-off. I will take the game in 2 weeks' time in exchange for not having single player. That's fine, I can live with that. And then that's really it from this article. Let me know what you guys think. I'll be very interested to hear what you guys have to say about that. I think it's an encouraging interview. I think they gave all the right answers that I want to hear. I think they explained themselves well on why things are the way they are. I think the reasons they gave us make a lot of sense. I'm happy to hear we cannot buy the in-game currency. I'm happy to hear that they're definitely thinking and working on other modes within their studio internally, but they're just kind of waiting on the reception of Firewall before they actually do anything about that. That's understandable. That means it's up to us. Make sure Firewall sells, you know. Play the game, give them a reason to add these extra modes without having to worry about splitting up the player base. And with that, I will end this video, lads and ladies. If you enjoyed this, if you like this channel, please consider helping me out with the old like, the old share, the usual shite. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and who knows, the next one could be in a few hours at this rate. Stay absolutely moist, and bye bye.